Becoming an esports coach is not always easy. It can feel lonely, it can be stressful, and with all of these things and your journey being and becoming an esports coach, it can be quite fearsome. So here are 9 fears that esports coaches have. Let's start with the first one. That is the fear of falling behind. You might be thinking like, oh, others are going faster than me. They have more experience than me. You probably have them. At least I know that I have them. So what can you do? You first of all want to stay curious, because even though some might think, or you might think that they will be going faster, developing faster, getting results faster, just stay curious. Ask yourself questions. What are they doing? What can I do? How should I develop myself? What ventures can I go into to improve myself? And how can I develop myself? You can watch other coaches, right? You can develop yourself in courses, content. You can read books, all of those things. So if you're falling behind, also think about yourself. Okay, what are you falling behind for? Is it a race or a competition with other people? Or is it a race just for yourself? Are you competing against yourself? Because most of the time you are only competing with yourself. So think about this, and this is something I always say. You have your ambitions, but then compare it to the actions that you have. Are those two aligned? Or do you have great and grander ambitions and a vision where you want to be? I want to be a professional coach. But at the same time, your actions don't align. Because if you want to become a professional full-time in the best and highest competitions, what are you spending your time on? Only on the gameplay? Are you spending your time watching and studying the game? Probably. But are you also studying and focusing on improving your coaching skills? How do you interact? How can you teach in the most possible and most effective, most joyful way, so you can help transform other players as well, and you can develop yourself and reach those ambitions for yourself? So that was number 1. The second fear is, what if my players don't improve? Because many coaches, and probably you have as well, are in a particular situation where you started off and you thought all your fundamental skills and all of those things, but you're not seeing immediate results with your players. Yes, they are kind of improving, but the results don't show it. What can you do? Well, you can simply not force results. You can only focus on the process that contribute to possible results. So calm down, relax, and focus on improving yourself and also improving your players. What are they lacking? What are they good at? And how can you match those two worlds together so they can have an amazing, fluent learning curve towards, better results eventually? But you cannot be like, okay, let's win more. Okay, how do you win? There is no focus on winning. That is just a complete lie and an illusion. You can only focus on the steps, the process that will result into a win or the desired results. So only you can do, right? And hopefully this helps you. You can only trust the process. However, you will want to have a process to help yourself develop the right skills and the right tools and everything to get there. And also understand progress takes time. Maybe you've heard about the saying like, people overestimate what they can do and achieve in a year, but they underestimate what they can do in 10 years. Not that it needs to take 10 years, but if you take time and focus on the things that are having a priority, like focusing on coaching skills, focusing on particular game knowledge, or becoming a specialist in some kind of sort or way, becoming really good at something, that requires time. Many people or many coaches, they want to skip steps. But here's the secret sauce. There are no shortcuts, because if there are shortcuts, many people or all people will take the shortcut, right? That's just how it is. There's no substitute for work. And if everyone would have taken those shortcuts, then if everyone would take those shortcuts, then it wouldn't be any shortcut anymore, because that is just the new standard, right? So forget about all of the things that you need to do. Focus only on the here and now. Calm down, slow down, because as I always say, it's like when you go slow, you go smooth, and when you go smooth, you go fast. That is just a simple formula of progression and getting to the places where you want to be eventually. eventually. So that was number 2. Number 3 is, if you're probably having like, I'm not as experienced as other coaches, so what can you do? Well, let's assume you are at the very first level of esports coaching, an amateur league. Maybe, you've been coaching a couple of months or maybe a year, but this is the same as if you're further ahead, right? Because even though you have 10 years of experience, there is always another coach that has more experience at a higher level than you, or has done greater things probably than you, right? So it doesn't matter where you are, you can compare this to. So the first is, no matter what your experience is, and yes, you have good things that you can contribute, but you can always bring in your energy, your presence. If you show that you care for your players, they feel and know that you care and that you take coaching seriously, right? So it's not only like showing up and talking about the gameplay and doing some analysis, being very low energy and presence, right? And it's all about the game knowledge. No, you can talk energetic. You can be a leadership and presence. So when you walk into the room or jump into the call, you can make contact with everyone, showing that you care. Not like overcrowding or like being the biggest voice in the room, but being present. That is such an important skill already as an esports coach. And without all of these things that you can learn eventually, right? But in the moment, you can decide today, how do I show up? What kind of energy do I bring? What kind of presence? What kind of behavior do I want to showcase for my players every day in and out while I'm still working on those other things? Also, it is your ability to connect. So many esports coaches, they just do their scrims and be in contact with their team, right? Because time is of the essence and there's not much time, etc, etc. But have you thought about this, that you can simply reach out in DM to set up a call, or just like, hey, just checking in how you're doing, to constantly, like not as a stalker type of way, but constantly check in and make the connection with individual players among your team. You can do so pretty much easy. All it takes is just a little bit of time actually, but you can do this, right? So the ability to connect is not only like, okay, did you do your homework? Let's do a VOD review and only about the gameplay. No, what is like, the starter cookie cutter questions like, okay, what are you doing outside of gaming or esports that you like? Do you go to the gym? What kind of movies do you watch? What kind of genre? What kind of other games do you play? Why do you play those games? Who are you in terms of like personality? What motivates you? What gets you going? What is your favorite food? Like, what is your background? What does the culture have to do with the way you are currently? You can have so many different and more shallow towards so many deeper conversations. And then you might be thinking like, okay, Donnie, but why do I want to invest in all of this? Right? Well, the thing is, the more you know your players, the better you can coach them. And sometimes, you all know about like the mental aspects, the psychology, and, having trust and respect for your coach and the environment. The more you know your players and the more they get to know you, the more trust and respect there usually comes from. So it's a very, very important investment that you can make. So instead of being interested in players, basically for the benefit of like the game or the esports or the results, be truly invested and focus on the ability to connect. Be human, be yourself, and that is usually enough, right? And also the last thing is, of course, outlearn others, right? Even though you don't have the experience that you desire to have right now, you can do so. And experience, many coaches think, oh, this is about the years of experience, like how many teams I've coached, how many players I've coached. Well, I'm telling you this right now, this is not the case, right? Let me explain. The experience is not in the quantity in terms of like how many teams or people you have coached. Yes, that could be a metric and is a valid metric. But I've seen so many coaches who've been coaching for years, and then I observe them, I watch them interact, and they basically are doing the exact same things with a couple of things differently that they did exactly in their first year of coaching, right? So they haven't really developed, they haven't really evolved their skills, they haven't picked up a book, decided to learn about coaching, decided to really deep dive into the game, not do all of the necessary work to be efficient in their work. They might be productive, doing a lot of things here and there, but really having the experience. Experience means like learning something, understanding something, able to apply something, and then make it your own, right? But many people are only looking, like reflecting on their own capabilities. But how can you know something, right? Or know something exists if you don't know it exists, right? So even though many people are staying just inside their own individual bubble, trying to become the best version of themselves. And even though it is a strategy, if you want to outlearn others, look for resources outside, right? The reason that you are already watching this video, that means you care about evolving as an esports coach rather than just watching another VOD review or playing the game yourself. You already are ahead of the curve. Trust me on that. And that was number 3. So let's move on to number 4. Many people, and currently I'm also holding a couple of interviews and I'm talking to a lot of coaches on a daily basis, and they say to me like, oh, I wish I had more networking skills, or I don't have the right connections. You know, there's nepotism, in simply translated like friends politics, like because they know a friend that is a coach, they pick him over me that is more qualified basically, or had better results, but they pick not the one that is the most qualified, they pick the person who is trusted the most, right? That is the dynamic. So this is a little bit about that, because many of you are struggling to get to the connections. How do I get into higher level tiers? How do I make connections with higher or more experienced coaches than me that I want to bounce some ideas of or I can learn from? How do I get in these areas? Well, this is how you do it. The first step is understand that it is not about who you know, but it's about people that know you. So many people or esports coaches get this wrong. And of course you can reach out and people get to know you, but it's more for other people to get to know you first. I always say try to become a bleep on their radar first before they have ever met you in person or talked to you before, right? Because what does it do is like they already know you exist. They sort of can decide if they like you and the work that you provide is, trustworthy in terms of like posts, maybe on Twitter, X, Instagram, videos on YouTube, all of those things, maybe LinkedIn, right? If they have heard about you, they will know you. And that is so much more. So that is also your network, not the people that you truly immediately connect to at first, but people that just know you, are involved in your circle basically. So let's assume you're coaching at the tier 3 level right now, right? And you want to evolve to tier 2. Go from like semi-professional amateur league, maybe getting paid 0 to maybe $100 to $200 or euros or whatever a month, to the semi-professional tier 2 league where you can, potentially earn 500 to maybe 2,000 to 3,000 euros every month. That is a big step. You get there through connections. That's just the way it is, right? So instead of like reaching out, and that is for sure a tactic, but many coaches that came to me and like, I'm not like super social. I don't know how to find the right words. I don't know how to find the right people. How do I get into their DMs? How do I, make them know about me? Well, just share what you have to say. And it is a little bit of vulnerability, but at the same time, show your work, talk about, but at the same time, you will get criticism, you will get feedback, you will only grow. It will help you 1000%, because instead of like them watching your CV or portfolio with some work examples, they will still choose the person that they've interacted with. And right, you're now currently also interacting with me. You know how I talk, how I look, how I use my face, my expressions, all of those things. And you see like, oh, I know a little bit how this Donny guy uses, how he teaches, how he talks. I kind of like that or I don't like that. I don't care. But you have a judgment or at least an image about me if you would like maybe potentially in the future work with me or watch more videos if it's valuable to you. And the same goes, you can make these videos about your analysis, about your game and everything. And that makes people learn and know about you. And that is super, super valuable. So start making content or just be visible what you seem fit that belongs and fits your personality, right? Be authentic. You can be different. So, and if you want to reach out, start with one single message. Maybe it's like reaching out in DM, right? That is the option, but also reach out with one single message. Just post one opinion on Twitter and don't overthink like your opinion and everything of like, yeah, I'm not sure if they will like it. What will they think about me? I understand these are the fears because we're talking about fears, but you should not care, at least not put so much emphasis on that. I'm not sure if you probably know Mr. Beast, but he gives some advice of like, make videos if you want to go into YouTube, make videos, the first 100 without any like based on results that you have any judgment of like outcome that you feel like, okay, oh, after the 10th video, oh, I wish I had more than 1,000 views right now. Lose all of your expectations, lose everything and just start posting and just see what happens. Certain social media, right, you can block the likes or reactions or whatever. Just decide, you can decide literally right now into the moment, okay, I'm gonna post 1, 2, 3 times a day, just share my opinions or document what I'm gonna do, and that's it. That is your start of your journey. That is the start of your first one message. It's not only a message to directly to a person, but you can also have one message to the world, right? And if you're gonna reach out or do something, give before you ask. People want to connect with people. Why? Because they have something they also like, right? Imagine you're friends with someone. I hope for sure that you have some friends or people that you talk to, right? Why would they like to talk with you? Why do they want to be in your presence? Because you contribute something, right? Maybe it's just jokes, laughter, companionship, maybe like a kind of brotherhood type of thing that you can share deep feelings or thoughts with. Well, that is on a friendship side. But imagine you are reaching out to like one of the coaches that you have in mind that you want to learn from, right? In gameplay or whatever, how they do things. How can I reach out? Well, what is in it for them? What can they gain out of it, right? So usually I give the advice to coaches, give first before you ask. Maybe some of you have, watched Gary V, one of famous influencer about also social media and putting yourself out there. Worth to check it out. Has a lot of fire in himself to just post and do yourself. It's just like, just get out there, show yourself and give first. He calls it jab, 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 or jab, 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 right hook. Well, I'm doing it like mirrored, but yeah, that is it. So give content. So if you want to reach out, you can, for example, show him the work already, or show an analysis video about his team, or make sure he becomes the bleep on the radar before you even, talk to him, because maybe he doesn't watch your content, but maybe he have scrolled through his timeline and saw your name, or in the reactions below and like, yeah, I believe I saw you. Yeah, sure. That is already a sign that you are growing in your circles and your network. So there are many ways to build connections and to move yourself forward to the next level. And the more you do this on a consistent basis, the faster you will grow and develop your esports coaching career. Those are facts. Right, then number 5. Another big fear of coaches is like, will I ever make enough money in coaching? Well, yes, if you decide to, that you want to, because you can have your ambitions, but do your actions align? Many coaches are stuck in the thinking, I let the results speak for myself. As long as I work with these few people or these teams and I get first place after first place after first place, I will eventually get picked up. It sounds logical, and at the same time it doesn't, based on the things that I said before. It's like there's a lot of nepotism or friends politics in esports, and even though you have all of those things, right, if you want to move to a higher level, usually they still pick not the one that has the right credentials or went first place, but rather pick someone who has like a second place, third place, but they know this person or this coach already for 2 or 3 years. They are kind of friends with, they understand, they know, and they trust. They know exactly when they bring this person on board what they provide, and they don't know what you provide except for, yeah, maybe results, but I don't know if his behavior, your behavior as a coach align with the behavior or the mentality or the culture of the team, the organization, etc. So there are many questions, even though you can say those are invalid. This is how human psychology works. I cannot make it better, but this is the game we all kind of have to play. And yes, some coaches get picked up and they are there at the right time, at the right place, and they have also some luck. And there are also coaches that, are doing the work and get picked up. But if you want to increase your chances in order to go full time and at least make more money, here are some things what you can do. The first thing is you want to diversify. Many people would like and love the most about like team coaching, but there's also like individual coaching. You can set up like accounts on Medify, Coachify, Fiverr to get individual coaching sessions. This is also something that you can start doing today. It's very easy. It's free to make accounts on all of these platforms, and you can potentially start earning money today. So maybe instead of like having that day job, you can slowly transition into going full-time coaching by doing one-on-one coaching on the side. And then what you can do is you can create content, you can document things, you can document processes or analyze like gameplay of the players that you do and create content out of it. There are different ways to generate money. I'm not saying this is like easy, because it's not at all. You have to know what you're doing and you have to write coaching skills, you have to write game knowledge, and also a little bit about social skills and selling, right? So there's a lot of different aspects that needs to come with it. So another way in order to earn money is to specialize in something, because in the beginning we just want to understand coaching, work with players and just teams and just, we want to coach. But like for me, the way how I chose to earn money is to specialize in helping esports coaches, in training the best esports coaches, right? This is my specialty. That's what I specialize in. I'm not coaching players. Yes, I've been a performance coach and I could do this. I can do work in businesses. I can work as a salesperson. I can do this. I can work in social media. But I chose to be a specialist in training esports coaches. That is what I did. And then you might ask, yeah, but what can I specialize on? Well, certain games like League of Legends have specialized roles. Maybe you can specialize in being the best analyst. Maybe you can be the best lane coach. Maybe you can best strategy coach. Maybe you can be a performance coach. Maybe you can specialize in one specific character. So even if you're playing Overwatch, for example, and you have like a tracer, you can be, if you're a player or coach, you can explain everything about that hero or character, and you can be known about that specialism, and you can coach all the players in Overwatch that love the character tracer. And then you'll be thinking like, oh, are there enough people, that want to be coached? Well, if you're good enough, people know you exist, there's certainty that people want to and will buy your coaching. But it all has to do with positioning and all of those things. So specialization is also a way to make money, or maybe sometimes at the current moment make faster money, because maybe you've already experienced it. There's one way or one opportunity in your esports coaching world that draws more attention towards you. So why not choose it and stick with it and become a specialist? Because specialists are highly sought after at higher competitions and levels as well. And at the same time, even though you specialize in one area, you'll be understanding and learning other things of different areas, of course, as well. And that can come in handy, but this is about making money. So another thing about making money is also treating your coaching as a business. Many people just treat it like a job. But if you want to climb the career ladder, hoping to be at the world stage or high competitive level, you cannot just apply, hand your CV like, oh yeah, I have Word skills, Excel skills at the 3-star and all of those, nice, clean looking things. They have such little value, right? So if you treat it like a business, what does it do? What do? I make content. I'm visible I have a community. I reach out to people on LinkedIn. I network. I provide value. I give out free stuff, free sessions. I do research. I try to position and market myself in ways that attracts, coaches that want to learn from me in order to become the best esports coach they can be and also achieve their ambitions and dreams. That is what I try to position myself at. And if you think about it as a business as well, and maybe you can, at this moment in time, you can ask ChatGPT, I'm an esports coach, right? Related to like me being a business. What are the aspects of me being an esports coach can use linked to being a business that I can improve or set out so I can increase my chances to reach my ambitions? And then you fill in your ambitions and then you have a set of questions and a lot of context, and boom, there you have basically your business plan in a nutshell already. So if you really want it, treat it like a business and then try to find ways to put yourself out there. And yes, just like in my business, yes, not everything is just as 100% fun as coaching the coaches yourself or you interacting with the players and the team yourself. But in order to get where you want to be, you have to do the things that are required or needed in order to get you there. So match your actions with your ambitions, right? So that's about making money. Then number 6 is the fear of like, will I ever go full time, right? You can decide. I know coaches who are still having a part-time job and earning more than 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 euros a month doing freelance coaching, or also at a higher competitive level because they have the pay, but they are still studying. So there are ways to go full time, but how can you do it? It is more a decision that if if you want it, you can do it, right? It doesn't mean like, okay, I'm gonna decide and quit my job and do everything right now. I'm gonna go for it. Well, hold on for a moment, coach, right? You first want to feel like, okay, where am I at currently? Because there's a difference if you're earning 1,000 euros a month right now or you're earning 0 right now. You need to create and set yourself up for opportunities. So maybe you're working full-time right now, anywhere, right? Just to pay the bills. Maybe you can start in your free hours an individual coaching business. Maybe you can start marketing yourself and going and soliciting for teams and projects or players that are a higher level that want to pay you for your services. It needs to be thought out and planned. It's not something you abruptly do. Or sometimes I've also met a lot of students or coaches that just say like, okay, I'm gonna take a break year of my study, or I'm gonna try to go full time in a year. And some of them, actually, the honest story is only a few of them make it in order to go full time, and many of them don't, because they just think, oh, I just want to play the game, I just want to coach the game. But if you want to do it with all of the things that I've said also before, like marketing yourself, making content, reaching out, networking, if you want it, you literally can do it. But it's not easy, right? It is not easy, but you can do it. If you want to learn how to do those things, I can help you with it, or you can watch other videos in order to improve your skills, your positioning, and all of those things, or you can ask questions in the Discord that is linked down below in the comments. You decide. Also, if you want to go full time, you will want more skills, right? As I said, in marketing, sales, everything, not just coaching or game knowledge alone. You want to expand yourself, become a bigger person, have more things to offer, and also more relationships. As I said before, your network is your net worth. Maybe sounded like super cheesy, and if you ask me like literally 10 years ago, I was like, yeah, but if you just become good enough, people will notice. Only a very few people, will notice you. That's just what it is, right? If you're not making content and or doing all of those other things, or not showing yourself or reaching out to those things. So build the relationships. That is so important if you want to succeed in esports. Unfortunately, I understand that you don't like to do this, but this is just reality. I can make it easier, but not like skip this step. I cannot do it for you, right? It's your personal brand, your name, your reputation that you want to build as well. Number 7 is, how long will I have to coach for free? Many of you are probably coaching a long time for free, maybe a year, maybe 6 months, but some I know are coaching for free for like 4 years already. Or maybe they have some income in terms of like a salary of a few bucks, maybe a couple of hundred a month, and then they go to the next team, they don't have an offer, and then they fall back into free coaching just because they have this passion. I'm not opposed to doing free stuff at all. I do free stuff almost on a weekly basis still. But why do I want to do free stuff? It is to be intentional and provide value and basically open the door for people to walk into my life, into the things and also the services that I want to do. If you want to do stuff for free, that is okay, but be intentional to grow fast. What are you trying to get out of this particular project, this team? What are you gonna do for your upcoming 3 months? What is your plan between now and 12 months, 1 year ahead of now? What do you want to learn? What do you need to develop, and what project fits you? How can you experiment with certain aspects, coaching skills, whatever, to put yourself out there? Only then to go coach for free. Coaching for free, everything that you do for free needs to be a stepping stone. And the bigger the stepping stone, the more reasonable it is for something to do free, right? Like the social media or like graphic design thing of like, yeah, your exposure is also a stepping stone for maybe other companies, right, to reach out and work with you. No, I'm not talking about that type of free stuff. You need to have at least the context or the level up in terms of like opening a doorway in a different opportunity or at a higher level, right, in order to get your foot in the door. So yes, you can do free work, but be very deliberate and intentional with it. And of course, do it for free until you've learned the skills, right? Apply, experiment, do what is required for you to grow above and beyond yourself. If you've done that, then you're done with doing stuff for free, right? And you can always come back to free if that is making sense for you, and or until you have the trust from relationships, right? Because a short story about myself, in the first 6 months to 12 months, I started in esports trying to become a professional. I gave workshops, worked with coaches, players, all for free. And my intention was just to test the waters if esports would be any viable valuable and the things that what I'm doing would be of any good or value for them, and maybe they want to pay for it or not. I had this strategy that I'm gonna do 6 months of free work, doing the best I can, asking feedback and then improving. And if within 6 to 12 months of after working with people, I got a message back from them like, hey, can you do this again? Or I'm not getting a message, that was like a breaking point for me of like, if this is a viable business or not. So I did 6 months for free, working with as many players, coaches, teams as I could possibly can. And then after 6-7 months, I got the first messages and it kept coming like, hey, Donnie, you did something like a couple of months ago. You had a workshop. I'm now in a new team. It was very valuable to me. Can you come do it again? And then I would say, of course, I would love to do it again. But now, like, I cannot do it for free anymore. Are you okay with that? Yeah. No, it's okay. We don't have a lot of budget, right? The first step, but we can do something. So that was the first income I could have, like in esports. That's how I started. And yes, it took a little bit of runway, but by doing so much in 6 and 12 months for free, that basically set me out to then in 12 to 18 months to go to full-time like performance coaching with teams, helping, doing workshops, working with players and everything. And that basically, fast-tracked a professional or at least full-time income for me. That was my journey with teams and coaching. So you can use this. The people I worked with for free, they knew what I could provide in value. They trusted me, they liked me, and they would like to work with me again. So that is also a good sign when people reach out to you like, hey, that was a really analysis video. Hey, I really loved your content. Can you do something like analysis about my gameplay as well? Yes, I can do it. Maybe the first time for free, but then the second time, right? But when they reach out, that should ring a bell of like, hey, okay, I will do it. Because maybe you should even charge, because I also help people with like freelance coaching, like to set it up on websites like Fiverr, Medify, those things. And I just say, just charge the lowest amount possible. But you sometimes, when people reach out and they want to work with you, let them pay any amount. Even though it's $1, even though it's €5, $5, you shouldn't care. It's more about the experience, getting your name out there and getting the testimonials in. Because this is also a saying I go by. If people are not paying attention. So even though $5 to $0 doesn't really matter that much, at least in the Western world for most people or players or coaches. So, but sometimes it's just like an obstacle for people like, oh, but why do I have to pay? You did this for free or whatever. It makes sure they pay attention because they put their own time and money into you. So they start to pay attention. So it's also a weird human dynamic, but it makes a lot of sense, I believe. Fear number 8, that is, will others pass me by? Yes, others will pass you by for sure. They're more maybe fired up people, more ambitious people than you, and they might be thinking like, Donnie, no, I'm ambitious. I'm going to do everything I can in order to reach my goals and ambitions and my dreams. I'm sure you will. But imagine we have a big esports coaching community, and many coaches are exactly like you in a different way. And some people are even more ambitious or finding, the formula for themselves that works for them in the best way possible, right? So how do you make sure not others pass you by? Well, again, you focus on yourself and focus on mastery. Instead of thinking like, oh, like this person from Division 4 is catching up with me. He's now, since last season, he's catching up to Division 3 and he has an offer or is in talks already with someone from Division 2 and I'm at Division 3 already for 2 years. I believe I'm a better coach. All of these fears or these crazy voices in our minds, they happen. They happen to me. Not as much, luckily for me anymore, but they just happen. And I'm sure you have them in some sort of level or form as well. So what you want to do is just focus on mastery, becoming the best version of yourself and not stopping, not quitting. Be sure that if you want to coach, you want to be at the world stage or at the high level, be the best coach in that league. And not by saying I am the best coach, but showing, demonstrating you are the best coach in the way you behave, the way you show yourself, the way you make content, the way you provide value, the way you make connections, the way you make people feel, the way you make people talk about you. All of those things you are in control of. So reflect on yourself, go for mastery and go for depth over width. Yes, in the beginning, it's like a diamond shape. You want to learn, as much as possible. But then all of a sudden, I would recommend, if you feel like, okay, I'm established, I feel like I have some fundamentals down on what I want to do and want to achieve, and then go into depth, specialize in certain aspects, become the best in esports coaching skills, become the best in teaching skills, become the best in human dynamics, in holding conversations, learning certain specific aspects, go into depth instead of width of doing the same thing over and over again and trying to improve everything all at once. Choose a lane and then stick with it. And then you will pass anyone by because you're going faster, more serious, more dedicated than anyone else. And once you do that, of course, refine. Tweak your insights, tweak your approaches, I would say. Tweak your methods and make it truly your own. Define your own philosophy, or create your own methods, your own frameworks. Make it as simple as possible for other people to understand, follow, and have success with it as well. That will get you ahead, and then it will be quite difficult for others to pass you by. And that is if you decide you are in a race with others, but you are only in a race again with yourself. So keep that in mind. And then last but not least is the fear of, but what if I burn out? I had unfortunately so many coaches that I've worked with, and they decided of like, yeah, I'm going all in. I'm going full time. I'm going to try it for a full year. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But they just burn out. They just burn out. They don't have the energy, and they forcefully need to quit esports for like a couple of months, or need to break away from it for, forever, because it's just not sustainable. They're not getting the results. They're putting in so much work. They focus too much basically on the game or the things that doesn't bring them the results. And that is just like a pity, because I know how hard you guys work in order to achieve your dreams, to make your ambitions come a reality. And like, I'm gonna say this, like, of course, like just with the startup and business, yes, you want to grind it out and do everything that is in your power to achieve the things that you want to achieve, but you want to set boundaries. You need to have breaks to replenish yourself, your energy, your joy, right? You need to speak with friends. You want to go outside, go for a walk, hit the gym, eat healthy, all of those things. And many people just think like, oh, I'm gonna grind it out, but most of the time it's just like a gamer that is locked up in their basement, right? That kind of mentality. I'm just gonna grind the game. I'm gonna do the things that I know over and over, and I expect better results every time. But it's a conscious effort. Becoming an esports coach or a successful esports coach is not like a sprint. It truly is a marathon. And then again, so many cliches that I've spoken to in this video, but this is just the truth. It's a marathon. So try to get everything in place. Make sure you find a way or system or a schedule that works for you, but is also sustainable. 1 year, giving it your all, and then I'm gonna, decide if I can take the leap of going full-time or not. Very few do that when I look back that have said this and have actually achieved it. Very few you got the results in that way. So just make sure it is a marathon. Slow down, be sure everything goes smooth and nice, because smooth and nice is going fast, right? That is it. So take breaks and be sure to recharge yourself. So coach, what do you think about these 9 fears of being an esports coach? Which fears are, very personal to you? Which fears are you still working on, or which fears have you overcome? I would love to get in contact with you. Just so find the comment section below. Share me your fears, your thoughts about this video and what you've learned and how you've experienced it. That will be amazing. If you want to join also the Next Level Esports Discord community, where more than hundreds of coaches are globally active and interacting with one another, so you can ask all your coaching questions, also share your fears and post your achievements, and want to get support from me and other coaches around the globe, be sure to check it out also in the comment section below as well. And with that, be sure to subscribe and like, and I'm seeing you in the next video. Ciao, ciao, coach.